This week on For Crying Out Loud, Craig Shoemaker.
But I don't understand it. You know, even to sum up my mom with the proud thing on what I do, you know, I've won awards. And, I've done really, really well from nothing. I put myself through college.
Wow.
I had to work every dime of my college was paid for by myself. You know, I got my doctorate now. And she wouldn't show up for my doctorate, you know.
Craig,
we
get it. We're proud of you.
But, thank you, Stephanie.
You're a good person.
Did that need
You're
to come
worthwhile.
out? Did that need to come from someone I made out with once in the 80s?
Really.
Who was drunk and didn't even remember.
Didn't eat peanut butter.
Very
high on peanut butter.
Check out an all-new episode of For Crying Out Loud this Monday, or visit cryingoutloudshow.com. Only on the Ace Broadcasting Network. You're listening to the Ace Broadcasting Network.
Hello, my little pineapple upside down cakes. It's me, Allison. Before the show officially starts, just want to say a couple words. We are doing another live show. I'm very, 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 very excited. It's going to be August 9th. That's a Thursday at Nerd Melt, which is the Nerdist Theater at Meltdown Comics, at 9 p.m. And the guest will be none other than Pete Holmes, very first guest ever on this podcast, so that'll be a really fun time. And there will also most likely be a musical guest. It may be Michael Rosas again, because everyone loved him and I love him, or it may be someone different. So go out and get your tickets, and if you're wondering where to get those, you can go to my website, AlisonRosen.com, and click through, and okay, I'll see you there. And also, we have an iTunes comment of the week. First, I'm going to tell you what the question is for next week. It's going to be, what is your favorite, or what do you think is the best decade for music? Is it the 90s? Is it the aughts? Do you even say the aughts? Or the 80s or the 70s or 60s? It really could be any decade of your choice, but say why. And then also say some nice things about this show, won't you? And the question last week was, what is your favorite color? And here we go.
Allison wants your iTunes comments. Allison wants them, yes she does. Please leave her some iTunes comments and don't forget to click 5 stars.
All right, so this week the comment comes from M. Parkansky. So, and it's titled Colors. Talking about favorite colors always reminds me of one night in high school when my best friend and I were chilling by a campfire, and we both agreed that the color of an ember at the bottom of a fire was definitely the awesomest color. So bright that it was almost neon, but could never be replicated in crayon form, paint form, or any form. So, campfire ember.
I thought that was kind of beautiful. Gary, did you think it was kind of beautiful? You're wiping away a tear. Or an itch. You had an itch in your eye.
No, it was a tear.
You're very sensitive and stoic. Say thank you.
This is me being stoic.
Oh, okay. Be less stoic.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, you guys, here's the episode. The guest is bald Bryan Bishop.
Alison Rosen. Alison Rosen is your new best friend. Alison with her good times never end. Alison Rosen. Your new best friend.
Hey everyone, hi, hello, it's me, Alison Rosen. Welcome to another episode of Alison Rosen is Your New Best Friend. My guest today is one bald Bryan Bishop.
You're mostly right.
You know what? I felt it happening wrong and I just went with it. I committed to saying it wrong. It's bald Bryan Bishop.
I'm not one to judge slurred speech, so that sounded great to me.
Has your hearing been affected as well?
No. I just don't feel like I'm in a position to judge.
I don't think
anyone
you are
who mumbles
either.
over a syllable or two.
Thank you very
and I just
much.
said syllable or two correctly.
I know.
So I'm thrilled.
That's good.
I feel like I should quit while I'm ahead. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Well, you were a great guest, Bryan. Thanks a lot. Anything you want to plug?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
Gary's here as well. Could you turn the clock on when you have a chance? So that I know just how long this wonderful repartee has lasted.
Feels like forever.
An eternity, right?
Already.
Anyway, Broad Bryan Bishop
Yes, keep
is
moving
my
the R around.
coworker. That's right. Is my coworker on the Adam Carolla Show, which perhaps you know him from there. He does sound effects. He's Adam's sidekick. He worked with Adam on the radio show. He has a brain tumor. He's working on a book. All sorts of things we can talk about.
All those things are correct.
I know.
This is what this side of the room looks like. I've never been over this side.
Yeah,
of the
we
room.
are currently in the studio where we do the Adam Carolla Show, but Bryan, oh, I got it right that time.
Yeah.
I'm not even drunk.
Yet.
Exactly. The day's young. Is sitting on a different side of the horseshoe or L-shaped console that we
Crescent-shaped.
normally... You think?
Well,
it's more like a boomerang.
It's not a perfect crescent. It's more like a malformed crescent roll.
It's like a melting clock from a Dali painting.
It's exactly
Just
what
to
it's like.
use a reference that everyone would go
Totally
to.
get it right
Exactly.
away, yeah.
So, Bryan,
It's a heady audience.
there's something that I want to ask you.
What's up?
I want to tell you that the other night I noticed on Twitter you tweeted that you, I don't know if it was that you couldn't sleep or that you had spent all this time looking up your old Channel 1 coworkers to see who had the most Twitter followers.
Yes, I'm very shallow.
And then you said that you do. And then you said, what's wrong with me? And then I tweeted to you, but if they had more followers than you did, would you still tweet this? And then you said, haha, you know me too well. But what struck me about that is I don't normally think of you as someone who is sort of given over to these kind of petty competitive things.
Right,
So
I'm
it
really
was
not.
surprising.
I'm really not. It was more a combination of really legitimately not being able to sleep. It was like 1 in the morning or maybe even later. It was that. It would have been funnier. I would absolutely have posted. If it would have been funnier if someone, one of my former coworkers, one of the anchors from back in the Channel 1 days had a significant, or just barely more than me, because it would have been funnier to be like angry at that person. I don't know. I'm sort of creating this. I would have liked to have created this scenario where I was furious at somebody for, daring to have more followers than me. But as it was, it would have been just kind of weird humble bragging to be like, I have the most followers of all my former coworkers. When I wasn't trying to say that, I was trying to say what kind of petty person even looks this stuff up. Well, I'm sure there are petty people.
A person like me.
Yeah, I'm sure there are petty people out there who look it up, and it's probably it's probably what Twitter does to our personalities, which is, in a way, it does bring out some of the worst parts of our personalities.
Yes, because you can quantify things like popularity, or it gives you a false sense of being able to quantify that.
Because it's given over to what types of people you appeal to. Like, for example, one of the, and by the way, when I was at Channel 1, I was not an anchor. I was a writer, and some of the anchors, Channel 1, by the way, for everyone, is the in-school news network, so like a CNN for teens. With Doritos commercials. And one of the anchors was Seth Doan. And Seth Doan is a CNN correspondent, possibly CBS News, maybe both. But anyhow, he does like real news. He doesn't have a ton of Twitter followers because it's not who he appeals to. But he's a legitimate news guy.
Not if he doesn't have a lot of Twitter followers.
Exactly. I have significantly more Twitter followers than him, which, if I didn't think about it, I'd be like, wow, I'm way more popular than Seth Doan. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but it's funny. It's even funnier now that we talk about it that I have not just a few, but a significant number more Twitter followers than this actual legitimate, news anchor for real news, not just, some what's trending show. He's like a real news guy, but it's funny and amusing to me.
Shio Azar, burn.
Well, actually, it's funny because one of the host of the Yahoo show, What's the Trending Now or What's Trending? There's What's Trending, I think that's Cheryl Lazar, right?
Yeah.
And there's Trending Now, which is a Yahoo show hosted by Melissa Knowles, who also was a Channel 1 anchor back in the day, in my days.
Quite a launching pad.
Both, by the way, got big stories wrong within a few months of each other. Like, they're like, I think the Yahoo one, it was some false picture that was circulating on the internet, and they went on some news story about it. They came back a day later like, oh, we got fooled, which led to the whole discussion on the show on the Adam Carolla Show of the race to be the first in news. Damn the fact, we got to be first to break this story. But anyhow, so it was amusing to me that I was even looking this stuff up, and I'm like, oh, this is not what I should be doing with my life.
Yeah, I mean, are you competitive? Do you measure yourself against other people?
A little bit. I think in as much as anybody is. Maybe actually less than some people. But you know what I am? Not even so much competitive. I am driven in my life, in my professional life especially. I keep a chip on my shoulder intentionally. Some, not a huge one. I mean, but for example, Jerry Rice. You're not a big sports person, but you know who Jerry Rice is? He was, sorry.
Yes, I'm not, and no, I don't.
Okay, Jerry Rice is a very, very famous football player, and he's one of the
that
all-time.
extra very was just to rub it in, wasn't it?
No, he's one of the all-time greats. But I'm trying to make a point. He's one of the all-time greats, undisputed one of the all-time greats. Gary, yes, thumbs up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, one of the all-time greats. And in his Hall of Fame induction ceremony, he said, people talked all the time about don't play scared, never play scared, don't go out there with any fear. And Jerry Rice, one of the best, arguably the best player ever to play football, said, I went out there scared all the time. I was scared that I was going to drop the ball. I was scared that I wasn't going to play my best. I was scared. And that scaredness, that frightenedness, drove me to work harder in the practice field and make myself a better player. I'm not scared, but that's how I feel about.
I love that. We should get him on the show.
But that's how I feel about keeping a healthy chip on my shoulder, which is, yeah, it's not good to walk around with a chip on your shoulder because you're an asshole and you're like, oh, you're not, well, you don't respect me. But a little bit of that is healthy.
It creates drive.
Whatever drives you, whether it's fear or ambition or greed, well, greed maybe not, but whatever drives you, if it's a healthy, drive, then that's one of the things that drives me. Is I have these perceived
slights.
Yeah, slights or disrespect from certain people in my past who probably don't even remember me. But to me, it's like I want to get to a certain place and accomplish certain things to prove that I can do these things. And I'll show him when, in fact, I'm sure him, whoever him is, has no recollection of me or interactions.
You actually are petty.
Yeah, in a way, but I like to think that I use my pettiness. But yeah, I guess I kind of am.
No, but it's an interesting question. Is anyone driven by good, pure motives?
Yeah.
And by that I don't mean by altruism as much as like,
I'm going to be all I can be so I can prove to myself I'm the best.
Yes.
I don't think a lot of people have that.
No, I feel like it has to be something that you're trying to push away or something you're trying to prove that propels you to these great heights. And especially in something like entertainment, which I feel like a perfectly well-adjusted, normal, healthy person, entertainment is not the direction they would go. Would you agree?
Sure. Yes, on average, absolutely.
What do you think drove you to it?
Boy, I don't know. That's a really good question.
Well, how did you end up doing what you're doing?
I grew up in my formative years in high school really enjoying talk radio. It appealed to me, just not seeking out like AM, political talk, but like Howard Stern in the morning and Loveline at night. And I listened to those almost all the time, driving to high school and on my way to high school. And I got driven as a younger person and really fell in love with just the spoken word, I guess, and ended up, coming into talk radio sort of through the back door. But now here we are.
You were a phone screener, right?
Yes,
at
I
KROQ?
started off as a phone screener at KROQ. That's absolutely right. A station in Los Angeles.
When you did that, was that with ambitions of becoming an on-air talent?
Or did you love phones?
Well, that's not what I mean,
both.
but I came to Ace Broadcasting not wanting to be... I have no aspirations of...
That's good.
We have a segment coming up later that I'm going to bring that up in.
Is it just me or everyone? Does everyone feel like that?
Pretty much.
Okay. Yeah, maybe delusions of on air, but at the time I was 22 and KROQ was the biggest station in the country, arguably, certainly one of the most influential, and had no delusions of jumping from the call screener to behind the mic. I mean, had everything gone, there's always that magic, that one person who gets that chance to shine on mic, and they're a wonder kind, and they're an on-air talent at age 22 or whatever it is. But I didn't really see that going for you that way. I was like, well, I'll work super hard, and maybe I'll be a producer, and maybe I'll be on air. But I always wanted to. For example, when I was screening calls for Loveline, I had the idea for me and Anderson, the Loveline engineer at the time, said we should do a movie show. We should do a show about movies, and we'll sit here after Loveline at midnight. We'll record, basically practice, like batting practice, and we'll get good enough. We'll make a demo tape. We'll ship it out, and hopefully it'll end up on some AM station somewhere. And this was before podcasting ever came around, but that was the ambition. That's what I really wanted to do, because to be on AM radio, talk about movies, was the height of my ambition at that point.
And did you actually start doing so you host the Film Vault, which
Yes.
is a popular podcast that people can get on iTunes.
They certainly
or
can.
At filmvault.com?
No, it's AndersonandBryan.com.
Oh, AndersonandBryan.com. Okay, then. When did you start Film Vault?
We started literally recording ourselves for a demo after Loveline, like midnight, after Loveline in the Loveline studios. 2002, maybe 2003, somewhere around there.
I love the idea of a demo.
You had to have one back then. There was you couldn't just start doing a podcast.
Did you actually send it out?
We gave Drew a cassette tape to listen to get his opinion. I got a Kat Corbett as a DJ on KROQ, and she was just sort of a fill-in DJ back then, like a weekend DJ, and very cool to me when I was working there. Very nice, and gave her a copy of the CD and got her feedback. Just basically got feedback from friends. I never actually sent it out to any station managers or anything. So basically, if it's friends, passed it around.
What did Drew say about it? Did he listen?
You'd have to ask Anderson. I remember he talked to him more back then than I did.
Okay. Yeah, what did you think of Adam and Drew back in those days?
I was more overwhelmed, just because I was a fan of the show from high school, and here I was out of college for a year or two, and I was like, wow, these guys, I get to work with them, and here they are and all that stuff. And for the most part, I always tell them, I'm sure you say a similar thing to people who ask you, what's Adam like off the air? What are Adam and Drew like off the air? They're basically the same people they are off the air as they are on. Adam, is plus 20% on the air because he's performing and he has to sort of, do a performance. He's on the air. He's doing a show. But he's 80% the same person as he is off the air.
Yeah, I've seen him do that show out in the lobby of this warehouse.
Yeah, if he gets a little bit of ramp, a little bit of runway, he'll take off.
Exactly. And then Drew is just dreamy.
he's a good-looking fella.
All kinds of dreamy.
He's an intense guy.
And so compassionate.
I think it was my wife. A couple of my girlfriends met Drew, but I think my wife met him.
How many people do you date?
At once? Mm-hmm. Only one. But I think it was my wife when she met Drew was a big fan, much like you are, found him very dreamy. And when Drew meets you, it's a big, strong handshake.
Oh, yeah, it is.
He looks you right in the eyes.
Yes, he does.
He looks through your eyes into your soul. He's like, hi, Drew Pinsky, nice to meet you. And you're like, you're reading my mind. You're looking through into my thoughts, and you are seeing what I'm thinking.
I know. I just began confessing things.
Right. Things you hadn't done. You want to make it sound good.
Right. Yes, in fact, I think about that sometimes. I think about the fact that when you meet someone and when they give you eye contact, it really does make you feel special. There's this girl I know in Orange County where I grew up, and she is... I remember reading the term for this in Sassy magazine a million years ago, which is the sound that only a dog can hear, to describe a woman that other women don't find attractive, but all the men like her.
Oh, okay.
There's always the
Jennifer Love Hewitts of the world. I always thought that she was sports guy. Bill Simmons uses him in his her in his column as the example of girl that every guy likes that other girls hate. But maybe that's wrong. I thought that was...
No, it's not necessarily... No. Not a girl that other girls hate.
Okay.
One where you just think, I don't see why men just flocked. I just don't see it. Like, she doesn't strike me as traditionally beautiful, but it's like, obviously, this kind of woman makes men feel a certain thing.
Sure,
so
of
I
course.
was looking at one of these sounds that only dogs can hear. And...
Is it a famous example or just some girl?
No, just someone that I know. And I was noticing that she gives very intent eye contact.
Yeah.
And she does make, I think that when you meet her, I mean, she's pretty, but it's just not on the level of, oh, that's why every single guy, like, it's the kind of thing where every single guy who meets her walks away thinking, I kind of like her. And maybe I have a shot with her because she made me feel special. Whereas when I'm a little bit uncomfortable, I meet someone, I give kind of like, I come off as shifty. Like, I give eye contact and then I look away and then I'm thinking of everything. And I'm thinking specifically, though, of when I meet people before a show, and what I'm thinking is, what do I need to do before the show?
It's interesting. I think you hit on something. I think people, women especially, but people need to be aware of the vibe they give off. Mm-hmm. Like my wife, I told her years ago, and I don't think she even realized it. I'm like, you sometimes give off, and you don't think you're doing this. You don't know you're doing it, but you give off a vibe of being annoyed sometimes, of being annoyed with people very easily. I don't think you are, but that's you have that look on your face sometimes, and you just need to know that you're giving off that vibe.
How did she take that?
I phrased it fairly constructively. I wasn't trying to insult her. Because I think she'd just come off of an argument with someone or some weird encounter or something, and I'm like, you sometimes, what it is? I didn't say annoyed. I said put out. You sometimes seem like you're fed up with someone, when maybe you aren't, but that's just the vibe you go off.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've mentioned before that a friend of mine once said to me that I am very easily irritated.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but yes, you are. I mean, yeah, as in, like, yeah, I can see that in a lot of people. They come off as...
But my problem with that was how do you refute it without proving it? I was like, this is a trap.
It's like when
This
someone
is so
says,
unfair.
It's like when someone says you couldn't talk your way out of a mental institution. It's like, it would be hard to do
Yeah,
that. Like, I'm
exactly.
not insane. Everyone would say that.
Yeah. But I actually don't quite know how I come off in general. And by the way, if you're listening, you don't need to let me know if you don't actually know me.
Make that your iTunes comment next week.
No, please.
How does Alison come off?
No, they need to focus on what's your favorite color.
That's for next week?
No, that's
feel
for
like I
last
heard that
week.
already, yeah.
That's for last week, yeah.
great.
But in general, I feel like there's this kind of blind spot in my sense of how I look, how I sound, how I come across. I don't know. Do you feel like you have a good sense of those things?
I think I do. But I remember we talked with the time we hosted the show with Todd Glass. We did that whole elaborate thing I did where I went over these survey results that my friends had taken. If you hadn't heard that episode, I'll briefly recap. I asked my closest friends anonymously to please take a survey where they would pick out from a list of like 50 words or something, negative words that described me. Not because I'm a glutton for punishment, although I feel like I put up with
a fair amount at
feedback.
this job.
Yeah, that's right. But I feel like I have fairly thick skin, and that's from growing up. I was bullied a little bit when I was younger, but it's also just the family, a big family with a lot of cousins and a younger brother. Went to an all-guys high school, was on the football team for a while, and was around a lot of athletes, and then was in a fraternity. So I feel like I have a fairly thick skin. I put up a lot of BSing. So insults, quote unquote, don't really hurt me that much. But this wasn't to be insulted. It was, I want you to tell me the negative qualities about myself that you perceive so that I can know how people think about me and I can address them. And if there's something I can change, I absolutely will. And they picked out, I think we talked about it, was smug, self-satisfied, withdrawn, and something about withdrawn. Distant, I think, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think
as
arrogant. Wasn't that one?
I don't think that, I don't know why you would say that.
I just remembered that.
It's in there with smug and
Okay.
self-satisfied. Arrogant may have been one that got a few less votes. But the point is, in as much as I'm at least very aware now, and I do my best not to act smug. I know what you're thinking. I'm very smug. But I do my best not to act smug, at least outwardly, and I feel like I do an awful little amount of bragging, and I'm not braggadocious. And with the whole withdrawn thing, I'm just not super... It's going to sound ironic coming from a guy who talks freely about his brain tumor on the show, but I'm not super forthcoming with, a lot of just personal stuff. I mean, people ask, I'll tell them, but it's not – I always find it weird. I never want to be that guy in a lot of scenarios, and one scenario I don't want to be that guy is the guy who overshares personal stuff without being asked, without being solicited. Like, oh, I'm feeling like this, or oh, me and the wife are fighting, or oh, my parents are giving me a hard time. Whatever it is. None of those things are true, mind you. But I don't feel like the guy who should share. I don't think anybody should be that guy. I don't want to be the guy who overshares without being asked. If people ask, I'll tell them.
I think I am that guy.
Well,
in this show,
I've not ever found
certainly.
you. Yeah, but that's what this show's for. I never found you to be like that in personal interactions.
Yeah, I wonder sometimes when I do feel like I am being that person, if it's to overcompensate for being concerned that people might think that I'm distant or withdrawn.
Oh, interesting.
Because
that's how you preemptively get away from being what I was.
Because I can actually be shy.
Right.
Some people don't realize that about me. Because I am very loud in certain circumstances,
right.
but I tend, in social situations, I do tend to start out shy.
Interesting.
Do you?
No. Well, my wife often criticizes me for not talking enough in social situations. Like you need to talk more, you need to ask more questions or whatever. Number one,
people can't like you if they don't know you.
I disagree. My personality, based on growing up listening to Howard Stern and Loveline and talk radio, I love to listen. I love to listen and learn. I love to learn about what people are saying or thinking or whatever. And I also don't want to be, again, that guy who's dominating the conversation, especially because I have a very, very, very small measure of celebrity, and that goes a long way in most social circles, whereas like, oh, that guy's on the radio or that guy's on a podcast or whatever, and I don't want to be the guy who's like, just too loud and too much, and I'd rather be the guy that picks his spots, much like hopefully I am on the show.
You know what surprises me about a lot of radio personalities, and I don't put Adam in this category, but I've noticed from being on the Adam Carolla Show, different radio personalities we'll have in the studio, they are so loud and big personalities, and they just take up so much space and so much energy out of the studio. Like Gary and I have talked about this. There were a couple guys who were going to be on the show, and I came in, and there's a table where I normally would prepare my news, and
Are these podcasters or are they radio personalities?
They are satellite radio personalities.
Okay.
And they had taken over that room and had no awareness of anyone coming in who might possibly have any claim to the space. And I was saying that they had figuratively and literally taken up all of the space. And I don't know if it's I don't know if it's because I'm female or just because I'm not someone they knew, or I don't know what it was, but like I couldn't have been more invisible to them.
It's a little bit of both and all of that and some more things, but I think it's a combination. And by the way, you're right on 2 counts. Number one, Adam is not like that. He's very much...
he's shy almost, or just he can be withdrawn, or he can be, the life of the party too. But for the most part, if you are meeting him for the first time, you'll be surprised at how quiet he is.
I think it's a thing of water finding its own level for the most part. With people who are bombastic, I think find their way to radio.
Yeah,
I think radio, at least personalities.
Right. Then there are, well, what I was going to say is then there are those of us who turn it on for the microphone. I don't know if I wouldn't put Adam in that category, though. It's just more like I think he gives himself permission to speak when he's at his own show more than he does off the mic.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know if I would call it turning it on either, but definitely knows when the mics are hot. You know what I mean? I guess it's just being a professional and being a performer is you just know when it's time to start. Like I said, you have a little bit of runway and you start to take off.
Right.
But I feel like of the radio personalities I know off the mic, it's 60-40 bombastic versus super withdrawn. Like there's not a whole lot of in between. Some guys are off the mic and they're just like, monosyllabic, and then some guys off the mic are the same bombastic personalities. I call it the Petros factor.
The bombastic ones
He's a great guy.
are exhausting to be around. See, then that's another interesting thing is that because I'm always trying to overcome this internal shyness, I have this sense that I should always, in social situations, when I'm meeting people I don't know, I should always make myself talk more, because if I don't, then they're going to start thinking negative things about me. However, I would rather be around the monosyllabic person.
Interesting.
Before a show,
given the
for
choice,
sure.
Given the choice between the two.
When I'm in a work setting.
I want that sweet spot, as long as we're talking about people who are behind the mic or on the camera or whatever, that sweet spot of a normal person who has normal conversations off the air. I'm going to tie this all into a preemptive just me or everyone, because it only applies to you and me.
Oh, great.
I feel like, and is it just me or is it you too? I feel like often I should be better friends or have more friends in the podcasting community, given that I'm trying to put this in we're on a notable podcast.
Yes, we are.
I mean, this
right now. Right now we are. We're talking on that.
No, we're on a noble podcast. And I think we have some notoriety in the podcasting community. On whether or not people know us personally, they probably know of us, or at least are aware that Adam has sidekicks.
We're very famous, yes.
Not exactly what I meant, but should we be more like ambassadors to the podcast world? Like we should be better friends with other podcasters?
Well, I tour the country speaking to high schoolers.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
I've actually been named ambassador and dignitary of the podcast world.
I'm a consulate, so I feel like I'm almost there.
Do you have special license plates?
That's exactly what I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, no tags. I don't have to renew that shit.
That's great. But in what way do you mean?
I don't know. In a nebulous way.
We should be reaching out to Toad Hop or something and be like, let us show you how we do it.
No. Not at all like that. Not a presumptive. That's another that guy don't want to be.
Yeah.
Is the guy who's like, here's how I do it, and here's how you should be doing it. In anything in life,
Oh, I have to jot down a note about a certain kind of that guy that I've realized really irks me. Go ahead.
But no, it's more, I'll reverse engineer it. I'll be listening to other podcasts, and the other podcasters will be talking about other podcasters they hang out with.
Yeah, well, now you're hitting on something. Why don't they invite us to their podcaster hangouts where they talk about how much they don't like us, right?
That's a great point. That's exactly right. But I don't do that. I don't know if I should be doing that. All 99% of my friends are not in the industry. Those that are, 99% of those are BTL, you know what I mean? To use a Dave the Thunder term.
Below the line.
They're just not personalities. They're
Right.
not, on the air, on the mic. I have one or two friends, who does stuff on camera, two. But I, and they're great friends, but that's just not what I don't seek it out. Maybe that makes us better people because we don't seek those people out. I don't know. I'm not settled on this at all. I wanted to throw it out there as a discussion point because
Should we be star fucking other podcasters
we be?
more? It's a good question.
Or letting them star fuck us?
Yeah. Hey, I'm open for star fucking.
That's right. But only for star fucking.
But we're the number one podcast right now. So really, who do we want to let us star fuck them?
We should accept applications.
Right. There's got to be a very serious vetting process.
There seriously has
So
to be.
that guy that I realized is a pet peeve of mine is the person who reassures you about something when you're not worried about that thing, and speaks to you as if you're.
Don't
maybe
worry, Alison.
this
We're
is,
going to get back to your point. Don't worry. Like that kind of
well,
that guy?
not exactly. Maybe this is a very just me kind of thing. But the person who talks to you as if you're anxiety-filled and freaking out about something when you're really not freaking out about it. And perhaps, maybe the only way I can, because the problem with that kind of scenario is that it makes me feel like you really don't know who I am and you're not reading me correctly.
Right.
And perhaps the only way I can illustrate that point is by just telling a recent story that involves going to the gynecologist and all of my lady problems. So I'll just make that one fast. So anyway.
Any other stations come in here?
And then we can talk about you and your brain tumor. I'm not trying to be a one-upper. But
If you
I also
want to.
we have to hit.
There's not much news on the brain tumor front, so.
But for the people listening who don't even know what we're talking about and might think we're joking.
What percentage of your audience, I'm curious actually, 'cause I've not talked about this. What percentage of your audience do you think listens to the Adam Carolla Show?
That is a big question, and I don't actually know.
We did a survey on the Film Vault to figure it out.
And? How many?
It was I think it was 2/3 listen to the Adam Carolla Show. I think 90% of the people learned about us from the Adam Carolla Show. I think somewhere around 2/3 listened, listen regularly.
I actually put that question to the listeners. Do you also listen to the
You should
Adam
do a
Carolla
survey.
Show?
We did a survey. There's free surveys out there.
Oh, just online?
Gary, get on that. Yeah, so you create the survey, you get the results, and blah, blah,
All
blah.
right. Get on the survey thing and
Free
get on the
surveys.
finding us some podcasters to hang out with. Please. Anyway.
Make that a question in the survey.
Yeah.
Are you a podcaster? Yes or no?
Right.
Would you like to approach them about hanging out socially? Approach them. Sorry,
dinner
that guy.
party, perhaps? Yeah.
Gynecologist.
So, yeah. So, anyway, I have endometriosis, and I had surgery in December, and I was put on the birth control pill, which I was on once years ago, and I hated it.
Really?
Yes, I hated it.
What is your birth control method of choice? Fingers crossed.
Sponge. Yeah. Rhythm. No, condoms.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was, it's like this is what you have to do if you have endometriosis to prevent the spread of it.
Right.
Now that we've, cleaned it out.
Right.
Fixed it or whatever. Yeah. And by the way, my gynecologist has been trying to get me to go on it for years, which I think all gynecologists do because they just feel like women who are sexually active should be on the pill.
Right.
And it reduces the risk of a number of things.
I've heard
I've
heard Drew's whole thing. Yeah.
Yes, they really push that. But I always resisted it because I didn't like being on it. So anyway, I was on it for 3 or 4 months, and I tried 3 different ones because she kept saying, there's different progestins in them,
sure,
and they can affect you differently. And I disliked all of them. It affected my mood. It affected my weight. It made me nauseous. I just couldn't stand it.
Oh, that makes sense now in retrospect.
So I asked my doctor if I could go off of it for a month because I just wanted to find out what's me.
Your baseline.
Yes, exactly. So then I had an appointment with her, and I figured she would say, okay, well, let's try you on this different one now, and it was going to start all over again. But after I explained everything, she said to me that my quality of life is more important and that this isn't even a guarantee against the spread of endometriosis anyway, and it's not worth torturing me and blah, blah, blah. And I was so surprised about that. First of all, I was like, wait a minute, this wasn't even a guarantee? Why the hell was I doing this anyway?
No, she was
she
hedging
said,
her bets.
She said the way to look at it is like sunscreen. You can put on sunscreen every day and you can still get skin cancer on your back. Which, granted, is really a strong argument for me being on it.
Right.
But for what, I trust her and she feels comfortable with me not being on it. So, hooray! I'm back to just my regular old mood swings as opposed to drug-induced depression and... all
pure,
of that
unfiltered
junk.
Alison
That's right,
mood swings.
uncut. Woo! I'm so sad. So anyway, though, but she was saying, she was like, so your job is to not interpret everything you feel. If you feel pain or you feel this or that, is to not start thinking like, oh no, it's spreading. And she was really trying to reassure me that it's okay for me to not be on it. And I was thinking, look, lady, you don't have to really drive this point home. I'm not nervously wanting to be on this drug. Like I have one foot out the door. She was treating me as if I'm someone who is very anxious about. I don't know. I just felt like she's not talking to me as me.
It reminds me of at an old job, Channel 1, actually. My old boss used to have this thing where she's like, she would hold up an imaginary sign that said sold. And every time someone was trying to like pitch her an idea, and she's like, yeah, great idea. And they're like, and we can do this. And like, yeah, no, it's a great idea. And then we'll do this. She's like, sold. Move on. I'm already on board. It's kind of like what you're saying. Like, yeah, I'm not worried. Keep going. Let's move forward.
Right. So tell us, for people who don't know, you have is it a glioma?
Holy shit! I mean, yes, I do. I do. What? Yes, it is a brainstem glioma located in the glial cells. I think that's why they call it that. It's a brain tumor at my brainstem.
Okay.
Yes, an operable brain tumor.
And when did you discover this?
It was late April of 2009.
Okay. And they had given you a pretty bleak prognosis, but you've been doing really well,
yes,
right? It's shrinking, right?
It is, and for the last year or so, it's been at bay, like, the same size. But initially, after treatment, it shrunk about by half, which is a big deal. It doesn't always happen. In fact, it rarely happens. So it was a big deal, and they're keeping it same size. Which in this line of work, a tie is a win. So the doctors are thrilled, and at this point, I judge a lot of how I feel based on how the doctor reacts, because with a lack of hard evidence, like, oh, your tumor shrunk by blah blah blah, or oh, it's all clinical evidence. It's all how I feel, and it's all how the doctor reacts. And he's like, oh, we're doing great. This is looking fantastic. I'm really happy with the results. You're responding to the treatment well. I'm like, great, sounds good. Thank you.
The thing that always amazes me about you and this is that I don't really think of you as someone who is fighting cancer or someone with a brain tumor, because you seem so okay with you have such a good attitude about things that I don't put you in some different category in my head.
Meaning, what was that category?
It's the category
is this drawn
that
from
I
your
think,
own personal?
Yeah, I mean, let me rephrase it. I don't think of you as sick.
Okay.
But you're not sick. But I guess it's maybe.
We're all kind of sick.
Well, yeah, I certainly am. Maybe I would have.
Let me try to help you here.
Thank you. I'm just
I
spinning
feel
in
the
place.
same way. I've known other people who have had terminal illnesses before, or cancers that are.
Terminal illness,
I'm sorry, my mistake. I didn't mean to. We all have a terminal illness of some kind. But I've known people with cancer before and who have had various prognoses. And when I first met you, I remember having a different perception of you than I have now. Now, I do not think of you as sick is probably the best way I can think of to say it too. It just doesn't enter into it. When I am referring to you to friends of mine, who I work with, it would never occur to me to say, to bring up your condition, because it doesn't enter into my daily interactions with you whatsoever. I don't notice, I don't notice it, and I don't think about it. It's not something that I'm conscious of, really. Yeah,
sometimes on the Adam Carolla Show, actually, Adam will make a comment, and then he'll say to the guest, oh, he has a brain tumor, by the way. And I always wonder, does the guest think that it's a joke? Do you ever wonder about that? Because it's said in such a non-emotional way, which is because you seem so matter-of-fact and cool with it.
I guess, I can honestly say that I don't think about how I want it portrayed. I don't think about how I want it thought about. It just is, and I express it or deal with it in a public way, just as I would deal with anything in a public way. It's kind of matter of fact. Better to joke about it than not. It would be weird to try and keep it under wraps. It would be weird if people reacted weird around it, like oh, I don't want to talk about it,
right,
making the throat slashing motion every time it came up. So, and also being very upfront and not jokey, but being lighthearted about it allows other people to act normal around you. You know what I mean? They're not walking on eggshells,
right,
or they don't want to say the wrong thing. You know what I mean? To the perception that they might offend you, which would never happen with me.
Are you scared?
No. I mean, I have brain cancer, and most likely I will die from brain cancer someday. I am upset about that fact, but will being upset about that fact increase my quality of life in any way or make my life any better? Absolutely not. Will living my life as though I'm not sick make my life better? Probably. Probably will make however many years I have, hopefully very many, it'll make however many years I have either more enjoyable for myself, for my wife, for my family, for my friends. We're having a 4th of July barbecue, and I just want to, in as much as I would have been, as I felt when I was if I was diagnosed yesterday, I just want everything to be normal and have a good time and have people think about the fact that I'm sick. And hopefully, like Gary said, they don't think about that and they just, move forward. And if you spend, you being me or anyone's in my position, if you spend your life one day at a time, sort of, it could come down any day, or it could blah blah blah, or oh man, I'm sad to be living with this condition. Next thing you know, your fear is down the road, and you look back and you're like, holy shit, I've had 600 straight days of fear or sadness or whatever. It's like I could have been fucking going to Italy, you know what I mean, or whatever it is. I could have been living my life as a normal person, and I don't ever want to get to the point where I'm looking back saying, shit, all that time I should have been, because I feel like all that time I should have been is all the time I am doing whatever that is.
Mm-hmm. Have you always had this kind of attitude about it?
Always had the kind of attitude about, yeah. I initially, when the doctor I was seeing for that very, very short period of time came in and literally said to me, in these cases, I say, 6 months to a year, my first reaction was, holy shit. My second, thought in my head was, well, that's not going to be me. And then maybe that's very survival instinct. Maybe I was fooling myself. Maybe I lied to myself. But I chose to think that way. Or no, I didn't choose to. I chose to accept that way of thinking. It was the thought that came into my head. I'm like, I'm going to go with that. I mean, I'm certainly not going to be gone in 6 months. Probably won't be gone in 12. And hopefully I'll be around for a lot longer than that. And I have been. And absolutely no, I look back and I'm glad I have lived the way I've lived and thought the way I've thought.
And how does it affect your wife, Christy?
Well, you'd have to ask her that, but I imagine, it's very hard. She was whatever she was, 28 years old and engaged, and, life was looking great on the horizon when, her husband or fiance was diagnosed with cancer. And not just diagnosed with cancer, was told, 6 months to a year. So I imagine it's difficult. I know for a fact it's difficult sometimes, but, I try and be part of, what I try and do in my everyday life is help her, remind her that, hey, things are pretty good right now. Things are probably pretty good tomorrow. And who knows after that, but, let's focus on the good times, because we have some really, we just bought a house, for example. Our life, all things considered, aside from, the black cloud of cancer hovering over us, our life's pretty good. Our families are healthy and happy, and our friends are happy, and we have a great group of friends and a great dog and all those things. So why choose to look at the negative? Or why choose to let the negative overwhelm all that?
I think for some people it's just hard not to.
Yes.
It's so great that you naturally don't, though. But
I think I had the same Paul Gilmartin brought up the same point when I was on his mental illness happy hour podcast, which is he's like, God, some people just can't do that. And I'm like, I'm going to bring up a sports analogy again. Gary, when Ted Williams was Ted Williams, great baseball player, one of the all-time best hitters, when he was a batting instructor, he was pretty much an abject failure as a batting instructor because hitting came so naturally to him. He couldn't communicate to other people. He couldn't teach it to other people. So he couldn't say, this is how you hit like me. Because
I think this. I feel like this has come up on this show before, and I've used the analogy of Wayne Gretzky coaching the Coyotes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's if you know how to do it that well, how do you teach it?
Yeah, that's I guess that's right, and it's just something that I do well, which is embrace the positive, just in my everyday life, not just in the face of negative things, but just. There's few things you can control. Getting cancer is one of them. You certainly can't control that. All you control is your reaction to it. And my reaction, I chose to be upfront about it on the show and be as accepting and forthright and all that stuff about it as I could.
Do you find that people say stupid things to you all the time? Some of which I may have said to you like 8 minutes ago?
What did you say to me 8 minutes ago?
Oh, I don't know. I just felt like my beginning to try to ask you questions about it was very, very hemming and hawing, and I was like deliberating over my very unnatural. But I just wonder if someone who is diagnosed with cancer, all of a sudden people say an array of retarded things.
Interesting. I didn't notice an array of retarded things, but you know what I did notice was some of my friends definitely pulled back and were a little bit absent from my life compared to how they had been. And my wife was upset about it. She's like, how come blah, 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 you know, when I talk to them anymore, they're avoiding us because you're sick. I'm like, this is just in my nature, I guess. I said, honey, you can't fault anyone for their natural reaction to anything. If someone's natural reaction is to back away or get scared or be awkward or not know what to do or be embarrassed or whatever it is, I can't really fault you for that. If you go out of your way to be a dick or be weird or be whatever, I'm going to be I'm going to bring that up. But if your natural reaction is to do whatever, it's hard for me to find fault with you unless your natural reaction is to stab somebody.
In general, do you not put expectations on people? You might be the single healthiest human being I've ever met.
No, I absolutely do. I put a lot of expectations on people.
But you are understanding of your friends' reactions.
Yeah, I'm understanding in an extreme circumstance like this, a good friend or family member, whoever gets diagnosed with a serious illness. If your natural reaction, like your gut instinct or your knee-jerk reaction is to do something, it's hard to fault you. I certainly, I'm not going to pursue, whatever, a friendship with you. If your thing is, I need some time or, this is a little too intense for me, do what you got to do, man. You got to live with yourself, if something happens to me. If I'm gone in 6 months, you're the one who has to live with yourself. It's going to be hell.
Yeah. Hear that, shitty friends.
See, that's the chip on my shoulder that I always have.
Well, I wonder...
That's what drove me to get better.
Is there a bit of a chip on your shoulder from having been bullied as a youngster?
Yeah, maybe.
What was
not
the nature of the bullying?
Not actively, though. And also, I don't want to be that guy who... I think about this a lot.
So, there's like a whole baseball team of guys you don't want to be in your head.
Batting eighth, I don't want to be that guy who exaggerates how much they were bullied, because you hear that a lot. It's like, oh, I was tortured. I was blah, blah. I was harassed and I was teased. Tease really is more of it. And it was pretty relentless teasing for a good few years there. I moved in the 4th grade, and that's a tough time to move because everyone's been friends from 1st to 3rd grade or kindergarten to 3rd grade, and I was the new kid. And on top of that, I was a little weird. I was smart and goofy and liked to make jokes that appealed only to adults. Kids didn't get, they didn't get my jokes, man. But I shouted out in class, and it drew a lot of attention to myself, which on top of being weird and goofy and all that stuff was a bad combination. So I was teased relentlessly, not bullied so much, a little bit, but
were you outcast?
Didn't have a lot of friends until high school. But midway through high school is when I really found my groove and found a great group of friends, and still friends with those guys to this day.
Chess club?
No, they were
Drama
all,
geeks. Poet society.
All false. They were all athletes. I was the one non-athlete of the group. I was a newspaper.
You're their mascot.
I was a newspaper geek. I was the editor-in-chief of the paper, and that was my thing. I wanted to be the next great sports writer. But they were all jocks. But it was a guy's school, so there wasn't the whole... You've heard Adam and I talk about it on the show a lot, like... The whole thing where the jocks are evil and they're beating up on the nerds, that did not exist in my school, because I honestly believe, and this is a philosophical thing, and we could talk about this if you want, but I don't think guys and girls should go to high school together.
I was just going to ask, what was that like going to an all-guys high
I think
school?
they should interact socially. Like there should be, we had stuff set up with the local girls' schools, and that was fantastic. Dances and mixers and all that.
Like Eastland and Bates for Facts of Life fans out there. I was just talking to myself.
Sure.
When I listen back, I'll appreciate that I threw that out for me.
But I think a lot of bullying, the vast majority, is to impress the other sex, is sort of in the wild Mean Girls kind of thing, to impress the other sex. And then when you remove that element, I just didn't see it. You just don't have the bullying, I think.
I'm trying to think. Girls can be vicious, and they bully in these sort of power mind game kind of ways. And I do think
I can only imagine the internet's made that worse.
Oh,
with
yeah.
Texting and Facebook and all that.
Well, yes, I think it has. And I think that whereas bullying was maybe, or just being a total asshole was maybe a popular thing to do around 7th grade, now I think because of the internet, people are doing it into their 30s.
Interesting.
Maybe not in a bullying way. I mean, because to me, bullying suggests a kind of group dynamic, like a group turning on you or a lot of people, leaning on you. But I think the individual asshole out there, because I think, we were actually talking about that on the Adam Carolla Show, that most guys who were assholes when they were younger just settle into being like a good guy as they get older. But the internet makes you aware of those lone, mature jerks.
Sure. Interesting.
But they probably exist in the real world as well. I just don't come into contact
Yeah, I
with
don't
them
come
as
into contact with
much.
them either. I don't know. I guess.
So, in terms of dating, how did that go for you?
Oh, it's a relationship podcast.
Yeah. Sometimes we talk about relationships.
That did not happen until college.
Not at all.
Oh, no. Not at all.
You didn't even, there weren't even girls that struck your fancy when you'd go to these mixers?
I had crushes and whatnot, but unrequited, to be sure. But middle school was a particularly tough time because it was the no girls. It was I was doing very poorly in school. I was a very bad student. And also the no friends and the relentless teasing. It was a perfect storm of bad times.
Sad
it was
and
really
awful.
sad. I did not.
What did
have
you do
fun.
to get through it? Or was there anything that you could turn to? Dungeons
Oh,
and
you know
Dragons?
what? No. You know what? Baseball cards. I fucking collected baseball cards. I knew everything about baseball. And honestly, I was in Little League, probably in 6th through 8th grade, I think. And that was my social outlet. I had my best friend was on my Little League team, and I was. This sounds like a bizarre kind of bragging. I was a good Little League player. No, I was a good Little League player, and that helps you socially. If you're not the spaz on the field who's throwing the ball over the guy's head, if you're actually okay and competent and actually kind of good, that helps you socially. So that helped me a little bit. The guys on my team I was friends with, and that was my social outlet. Was my team. So I dove into sports, and I wasn't a particularly great athlete, but I was good enough to be okay. So I sort of dove into that, and those are my friends.
Now, see, and here's where I speak a little bit from personal experience. As you got older and all of a sudden you weren't facing bullying or being outcast or all those upsetting things, did you not carry that with you a little bit, though? Because I had this belief, which I think was forged around 7th grade, which was like, oh, I'm icky and uncool.
Did that drop, by the way? No, I really didn't. I guess by the time...
Did you just feel like it was sort of an error that you were being treated that way? I'm not suggesting that it wasn't.
Now that I think about it, now it's funny, it's the first time I thought about this in years, but I'm thinking about specifically a couple of the kids who were shitty to me. If I saw those kids, I probably wouldn't be especially nice to them. You know what I mean? I probably wouldn't be like, hey, how you doing, man? Long time no see. You'd be like, oh, hey, what are you doing these days? You know what I mean?
I think, I talked about that
but
on
not actively.
the show. That happened to me. The queen of the shitty behavior, I ran into her recently, and she was super nice, and I found myself going back and forth between, well, first of all, she's like, oh, I always felt bad about the way that all went down. And I said, oh, you mean in 7th grade? Like, as if it's this thing
Water
that
off a
I've
duck's
never,
back.
like, I barely even remember that. I even went through the charade
When in fact it was
of
painful.
acting like I didn't know who she was.
Nice.
Well, because she said, excuse me, did you go to this school? And I said, I did. And then oh my God, this is that person. And then, but I didn't say, oh, like I didn't go through recognizing her. I waited for her to say it just because I was like, this cannot be happening to me. And then, I kept going back and forth between I should have my guard up. Wait, no, I shouldn't. This is many years later. No, I should. I couldn't go back. I couldn't figure it out. And then we were talking about, well, someone who's an asshole at 12, are they still an asshole now? And I don't know. I don't think they are. I don't really know, actually.
Where was this?
Because I was delightful.
Where physically was this?
It was in West Side.
Oh, really?
It was on the West Side. Yeah, that's right.
Now, for those out of town, West LA to Orange County, it's not a world away, but it's 40 minutes away.
She's living in Orange County again, though.
Okay.
She told me.
Here's my thing. Now that I think about it, and this ties into this point, which is considering I went to school in Northern California, high school and all that, grew up there, and now I live in Los Angeles. Again, that's not a world away. That's an hour-long flight away.
Yeah.
I never see anyone around here from the old neighborhood. I never see anyone here from Northern California. I never had anyone to high school with or middle school. And maybe that's why I don't ever see the people that maybe would have been shitty, that were shitty to me. And also, I guess my personality, and I've never thought about this, and I think about it, I always had my eye on something else in the future, moving on to somewhere else. When I was in middle school, my school I went to was a private school, and it was a few cities away, and you had to apply there and get accepted and do the whole interview thing. And for me, that was a big goal. I wanted to go there, very much wanted to go there. And so I think I was always like, oh, man, once I get to that school, it'll be a lot better. And then when I was in high school, I was like very much excited to go to some exciting journalism school. And, once I was like, man, when I just get to college, it'll be so cool. It'll be smart people everywhere. So I always had my eye on something a little in the future, far above and beyond.
What's interesting about that is that before you were talking so much about living in the moment, and yet that is very much being excited for something in the future. Now, do you still do that, looking to the future?
No, although I do get excited about, for example, I recently signed with a manager who's sitting me down in a lot of meetings, and I get excited about the meetings because every meeting is potentially something. It's not, if something was to come down the pike, like, let's work on this thing, it would be less interesting to me or less exciting to me than, ooh, this is something that could be something someday. So I guess in my core of feelings that you can't control, I get excited by possibilities, by ideas, and by notions, and by the thing that could be something.
That's so great.
That's interesting. I never really thought about this, but do you ever play blackjack?
Yes, I do.
You
sometimes.
play blackjack? The most exciting thing for me in the world is getting dealt an ace in blackjack. Because when that next card's coming, that few seconds when the next card's going to come, is like, this could be it. This could be the blackjack. And then if two aces come down, oh, boy, you get to split those aces. Now it could be two blackjacks. So that's interesting. I guess there's always that part of me that's like, that next thing, that could be a very exciting thing. It's someone always looking forward to something.
Is there not that voice in your head saying, this is going to be nothing? And do you want me to come with you and say it?
No, I don't know why.
Do you not get disappointed when then you turn over a crappy card?
Very much so, yeah. I've been crestfallen after many meetings in the past that I've set up on my own, and they went nowhere, and it's like, oh, that didn't
Yeah, because see, I don't even get my hopes up for meetings because I've been through the whole, this is probably just not going to lead to anything,
sure.
But it's still good to know them, and I have to, I don't know.
I know.
So I think that's great that you get excited about meetings and that you see the opportunity, because that is the better way to be.
That's one example. The blackjack thing is another example. It's the possibility of something exciting happening.
Yeah.
Like back in my single days, I feel like I got more excited about meeting a girl than I did about, going on date number 5.
Yes.
I think it's a universal emotion.
I think that might be universal. I think that the beauty of meeting someone new before you really know them is that at that point you just met the ideal person for you. And then once you know them, you just realize, nah, they're not that.
Yeah, exactly.
So then that becomes a question of how do you instead experience a constantly deepening love for someone. I think you have to get rid of the idea of this ideal something or other out there for you.
No. Why would you get rid of that? That's a great thing to have.
That there's an ideal someone. No. I mean, if you're actually in a relationship that, like if you're married, let's say.
Oh, okay. So there's somebody better out there?
Yeah.
Ideally, you want to end up with that person that you feel is just right, which I feel like I've done, and hopefully everyone in the world finds that. That'd be a great thing.
Yeah, I get. Maybe your sense of the ideal just becomes a little more realistic.
I always never had an ideal in my mind because I feel like that's unreachable. Mm-hmm. But I had not a list. That sounds wrong, but like a notion of boy, if I can just find a girl who has these things, and
What
these
were
things.
they?
What were they? Came from a good family, a supportive family. Ideally, parents who were still together. Because I really do feel. I mean, I think it's just statistically proven. If your parents get divorced, you're much more likely to get divorced yourself. And my parents are together, and as happy as you could reasonably expect people to be after 4 years of marriage. And so hopefully a person comes from a stable family and supportive family and educated, motivated, and driven, and all the things, all those things that you're like, oh, I hope she likes sports, and I hope she puts up with my drinking or likes my friend. No, likes my friends is actually a serious one. Like gets along with my friends, and Christy's all those things. So I found, my search was over at a certain point. I was like, well, she's everything I really realistically ever wanted. This is fantastic.
How did you guys meet?
It's a very long story, but the medium version is we met. I was dating a girl who lived in Scottsdale, Arizona. Christy lived in Scottsdale, Arizona, unbeknownst to me. A mutual friend of ours emailed me and said, hey, Bryan, I know you're going out to Scottsdale for the Arizona State game. Would you mind if my friend Christy tags along with you? She just broke up with her boyfriend, and she has an extra ticket, and she wants to go to the game and has no one to go with. And I'm like, yeah, of course, more the merrier. Come with me and my girlfriend and her family, just hang out. We did. We hung out all weekend. It was a fun time. Went to the game, went to the rally the night before, and Christy came over at my girlfriend's family's house, and we did dinner that night and everything, and then never talked again, never had any interaction. I completely forgot about her. Fast forward to a year later, or even more, a year and a half later, again in Scottsdale, a different mutual friend was getting married and invited both of us to the wedding. We didn't know this. I had broken up with the girl. She was single also, so we're both single. And we meet at the rehearsal dinner, the out-of-town rehearsal dinner, and she's like, what do you do? I'm like, I work for the Adam Carolla Show. She goes, I know someone who works for the Adam Carolla Show. I'm like, really? Because there's like 5 of us, and 3 of them are named Mike. So who do you know? And she's like, no, not that guy, not that guy, not that guy. And she goes, Lindsay, to her friend, the person who had initially introduced us back a year ago. She's like, who do I know at the Adam Carolla Show? She's like, Bryan, you guys met a year ago here in Scottsdale, and we had met a year ago. Oh my God, I can't believe I totally forgot about that. How you doing? Blah, blah, blah.
You must have really not made much of an impact on each other that you could be having this conversation and not remember that it's
at that point
you
we
and her.
remembered. At that point we remembered. But you know what? I'd like to think it is, and my wife says when we tell the story to people, I was such a good boyfriend that I was so smitten with my girlfriend at the time that no other girl in the world existed to me.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. But anyhow, we met. We sat next to each other at the actual wedding and started dating. We got back. She lived in L.A. at this point, so we had started dating, and the rest is history.
And then how long between that and when you got engaged?
3.5 weeks. No, year and a half. It was about a year and a half. About a year and a half. Till we got engaged.
And did you have any doubts along? Like, at what point did you realize, oh, this is the person for me?
Relatively quickly. I mean, a few months into it, we were going steady and there had been no problems. And pretty quickly, I mean, it was just the kind of thing where it was self-evident. And it was like, why? I mean, this is going very well. And I can absolutely see us, we moved in together and it went well, and we did the whole thing and it went well, and just never really, there were never any red flags. There was never like, boop, gotta start, thinking about, my exit strategy.
And for her, when did she realize? Do you know?
Probably around the same time. It was just, gosh, it was. There was no dramatic moments either way. Like it wasn't like and that's when I realized it was just easy and natural. I think when we realized how easy it was, like because we both had difficult relationships in the past, and probably her more than me, but she had combative relationships, and she's like, yeah, it was never like that with you. It was just easy, and if we had a problem, we talked it out, or if we had a disagreement, we discussed it, as opposed to fighting and throwing things.
I was going to ask, do you ever fight?
We argue a lot, but never fight. No, never gone to bed mad, quote unquote. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's more me than her, because it's just not my personality I don't engage anyone in fights. There are not many things worth fighting about. In our everyday life, of course, there's war and there's whatever, but there's not many things in everyday life worth fighting about.
When you get upset about something, are you usually quickly forthcoming about it, or do you hold it in, or what do you do?
I'm pretty quickly forthcoming about it. And I try to, in everything I do, I try to envision how it's going to be received by the other person. So if I had a problem with you or something you were doing on the show or something you had said to me or about me, which I can't imagine I would, but if I did,
No, I can't
I'd probably
either.
bring it up pretty quickly, but I'd bring it up in a very straightforward way. I'd probably be like, hey, Alison, that thing you did, I wanted to tell you about something that you probably didn't even notice, but made me feel kind of shitty, and I'd probably try to make it as straightforward as possible.
Yeah, because that's something.
Because when you dress up your complaints or arguments or whatever with, a lot of window dressing, like you give someone things to feel bad about or to attack or to whatever, like then if you have histrionics about it, then you freaked out and the other person's like, I didn't freak out, and they're missing your point. They're missing the whole point.
No, that's true. Yeah, that's something in my own relationship now that I'm trying to figure out is what do you talk about and what do you hold in? And I don't mean oversharing. I mean, if I have feelings, because I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the person who has to tell him every single thing I felt about every single thing that happened. Like, to me, that is a nightmare person. The person who, because usually you're like I give a shit,
yes,
lady.
pick your battles. You're saying pick your battles.
Yeah, and I don't even mean in a love relationship. I mean, like, I'm sure we've all had that friend and then gotten rid of that friend who's so fucking high maintenance that has to tell you every single thing. And it's like, oh my God. And then you get rid of that friend, and I don't mean, no, I do mean get rid of that friend. And then you just realize, oh my God, everything is so much easier now.
So
I don't
freed.
walk around being told everything I've done that's wrong.
Yep.
Why did I put up with this for so long?
It's not even being told everything you did that's wrong. It's hearing everything they have to say. That's all they ever do is complain, or all they ever do is bitch, or everything. There's some perceived slight, or there's some. Yes, yes. I've
like
distanced
a full-time
myself
job.
from a handful of those friends.
Yeah. Gary, unhealthy friendships?
Yeah, I totally agree with you guys. I mean, every now and then you drop somebody who you've been carrying, and it's very freeing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was beautiful. So anyway, in my
cut that out.
In my relationship, I don't want to be that person who is like, I know why you did or said this thing, but I just want you to know that I have this reaction, because I'd dump my ass if I did.
Sure.
Was that? However, I'm finding that when I hold something in, it creates distance versus when I just share it, whatever it is, I always feel closer to him afterwards. He might not.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. He is really good at hearing that stuff.
Have you expressed that to him? That like, when I understand that it's shitty of me to bring up a lot of this stuff or some of this stuff, but it makes me feel closer to you knowing that you've heard it?
Yeah, we've talked about that.
Good. I mean,
we've talked about
in
that.
that case, you got to do what you got to do, and you got to find the sweet spot, but you also got to do what you got to do. You can't, build up that, I don't know if the word is resentment or whatever, distance, whatever. You can't build that up inside yourself.
Well, I think it's that when something happens that bothers me, and I feel like if I tell him about this, though, it makes me look like someone who, flies off the handle at little things or is too sensitive or whatever. And the truth is that he didn't actually do anything wrong. I wouldn't necessarily want his behavior to change. So I'm having this reaction, but I don't want him to see it. So I'm just going to pretend everything's okay. That's the thing that creates distance. Because all of a sudden I'm being phony.
Right.
And I'm really bad. I'm really bad at being phony is the thing. So therefore I find that my hand is forced to just say whatever it is, and then everything's fine. But I do hope I get past that at a certain point. See, because like I was saying, he can hear all that stuff from me without it affecting him or hurting his feelings, whereas I'd probably, if the tables were turned, I couldn't do it. Because at a certain point I'd be like, you're making me feel shitty. Yeah, exactly. Sure. I would take it personally.
Interesting.
I wish I wouldn't, but I think I would.
You're fortunate that you found a guy who, I don't want to say puts up with, but is understanding of your neuroses. I mean, they're the things that, are particular about you. So in that sense, you're lucky, but I'm sure I'm sure he's not the only one of his kind out there. You know what I mean? I'm sure there's other guys who would, good listeners or whatever, understanding guys.
Oh, yeah. No, it's good to know. If it doesn't work out with him,
right.
Find another one.
Ah!
Just kidding. All right. And now, topic sombrero.
It's the topic sombrero. We asked for topics and you sent them in. It's the topic sombrero. Now pick a topic and let's begin. It's the topic sombrero.
I am hijacking the hat because I have my own topic that I put in and I'm pulling out. And here it is.
Okay, good, because I'm a fan of your show. Mm-hmm. I've listened to almost every episode. This is usually my least favorite part of the show. I don't always love... No, but I'm saying it's still great. No, but there are other segments I love, and this one is hit and miss.
Wow. We'll be putting that into a later segment. Thank you for your blunt honesty.
I'm joking.
That didn't sound funny.
No, you laughed.
Uncomfortably.
What's in the topic, Amber? I want to hear your topic.
Okay. My topic is I have a problem with texting and driving, which is that I do it way too often. And Gary, in addition to other people, have really gotten on my case about it, understandably, because it's, and even I think, why, this is stupid that I do this. It's just that driving is so fucking boring, and texting is so text, emails, tweets.
Interacting.
I'm surprised I don't blog from my car. I mean, I microblog. But anyway,
live blogging becomes dead blogging. We keep doing it from the car.
It's very
Think about
salient
that. The more
point.
you know.
Right. So I decided for one day I was not going to text and drive. I was just going to take it a day at a time, like breaking any sort of addiction, which it really kind of is.
Kind of is.
By the way, I feel like the fact that you say one day, it's like you climbed Everest.
Yeah, conquered.
Good job.
Thank you. I did it.
Climbed your own mini Everest.
I really did, though.
You know that hundreds of people have climbed Everest?
Yeah,
it's not that
crazy.
big of a deal anymore?
Right. It's not that big of a deal that I didn't go for one day.
No,
but for
not
me,
that. No, I'm specifically to Everest. Because I was like, you climb on Everest. Yeah, hundreds of people have done that.
Do you think we need to update the
So
analogy?
whatever the next mountain is, K2 or someplace in Argentina, I'd like to be the next.
Submit that.
Yeah, we'll do.
To the
It's just me or everyone
who are in charge of language. Anyway, so I made this rule, and then I was like, I'm not going to break my streak. I'm going to continue to not text and drive, although I bent the rules a little bit, and I made a rule that with myself that I'm not going to text and drive. I might look at Twitter, and I might look at emails, but I'm not going to actually send any.
You're chipping.
Maybe. Now, but at least I adhered to I'm not going to actually do any texting on my. Yeah, exactly.
Next thing you know, it's retweeting. Let's hit the retweet button.
No, that goes against the rule.
Okay.
There's no button pushing. I'm only a passive viewer of the screen, which now that I say it, I realize how stupid that sounds. The other day, though, I was driving down to Orange County, and I wanted to give my parents a heads up that I was on my way. And so I was about to send my mom an email that just said on way, and then I realized I can't do this because I've made a promise to myself and to Gary that I won't do this. So I guess either I turn back around and, park, and then I could just pull off the side of the road.
Yes.
I'm just kidding. I never considered stopping my car. So either I actually call her, which is going to involve a lot more effort because there's more things you have to push and find and shit on your phone if you call than just send that email.
Plus, you hate the phone.
And I hate the phone. Exactly. I hate the phone. It's going to take more work to call, but it will allow me to maintain my no text and drive sobriety. But, and this is something that people might not be able to relate to, if I call her, I'm going to most likely feel agitated afterwards.
Oh.
Because, sorry, my parents listen to this.
This is specific
Hi, you guys.
To your mother.
Yeah. Well, specific to calling my parents.
Right.
And I don't really know why that is, but I just generally, a quick conversation with my mom will leave me feeling like this. Ugh! Just a little agitated and a little frustrated.
For those of you at home, Alison just contorted herself. She looks like she's being tased.
Yes, it's a little bit of emotional tasing.
So I was emotionally tased today.
Hence the ease of just email. And
Texting.
so I've sort of, I'm aware that I have that reaction often, so I think I'm not going to do that, if I don't have to. I don't mind having a long conversation, but just the short, quick conversation, like I said, just ugh. So So here's the thing. Do I sacrifice my peace of mind and do this thing which actually is going to involve more pressing buttons on my phone? Or do I just say fuck it and just write on way? Gary would like to weigh in. It's very theatrical flourish.
Wow.
I'm like really upset by this topic.
Wow.
First
Okay.
of all, the answer is option 3, which you said, I thought you were joking. I never considered pulling over. I never considered stopping my car. Like, it sounds like you were close enough to a parking lot that you weren't on the 405. Pull the fuck over.
I was on the 101, actually.
Well, pull over and text her.
Yeah.
Is it that important that you even let her know you're on your way?
Yeah, that too.
I don't know why I felt compelled to.
I often throw my mind back to the days before cell phones and, like, this would not warrant an emergency call. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
neither here nor there whether they know I'm on my way or not.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember the circumstances that led to me feeling the need to let them know, as opposed to just like, hey, it's me, I'm here. And I can't remember what they are.
Still breathing. That's a good text.
Yeah. But if it was like still breathe,
Oh,
then it'd be
yeah,
a
that's a
sad
bad
text. So you guys don't have this tased reaction to phones and parents?
I don't text on the... Oh, no, not real. No, I love talking to my parents, especially my mother.
Oh,
She's
sweet.
listening right now.
No, I 100% agree with you.
Oh, thank you.
I talk to my parents on the phone all the time, and I have no problem with long conversations with them because there's usually a point, but the very short, I have the exact same reaction, and I wouldn't make that call either, but but I don't understand your obsession with texting and driving. I don't.
I don't have an aversion to the phone either, so I don't so much look forward to phone calls, but like if someone calls, they're generally someone I want to talk to, so...
So everyone else in the world just doesn't text and drive?
No, you're not alone. Christy texts and drives. It drives me nuts.
And now why does
she's
she
also a
say?
talker on the phone.
What does she say about why she does it?
I only do it at red lights. She also drives with Charlie on her lap, our dog, and that drives me nuts too.
Where should he be?
He should be on the seat next to her or on the ground. We have
Yeah.
nice, carpeted or whatever it's called, fabric or what is the word for
Upholstery.
Upholstered floors. You know, it's not like the floors in
right.
the truck. You know, the Charlie will be comfortable down there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, she's breaking all sorts of driving rules.
I know. I don't like this at all. Drives me nuts.
I want to not. I didn't do it. I made the call, so I've stuck with my not texting and driving thing.
Here's a related.
But back to me.
Oh, sorry.
No. I'm just kidding.
No, a related just me or everyone
Yeah.
to what you were saying is I often.
This is topic sombrero,
I know,
the
but
segment you don't like.
Yeah, I'd like it less. If Christy's, if I know she's on her way home or should be home, or is coming home, but it's taking an awful long time and I can't get her on the phone or whatever, or haven't heard from her, I will often think the worst. Like, fuck, she's been in an accident, or something happened. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
And that's irrational. That is not normal. Not a lot of people get in debilitating accidents. That's where my mind goes.
I actually have started doing that lately, thinking the worst if I haven't heard
And
from
it's
someone for a little
specifically
while.
related to driving home and phone calls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I had to stop myself, and I had to think, for 38 years...
I've not had this catastrophic...
For 38 years, he's been, living on this earth fine without me,
Sure.
he knows how to drive, and he hasn't been driving for that long unless he started very young.
It's
That would be
possible,
illegal,
unlikely.
yeah.
Well, unless up on a
But,
farm.
yeah. So he doesn't really need my monitoring like this.
Sure.
All right.
It's good you realize that.
Yeah, I have moments of clarity, but then it doesn't really do much.
Your
then I
neuroses
throw them-
wash over them.
I think that's not helping.
Sure.
Healthy thought, I banish thee.
Yeah.
I speak biblically to my
That's
thoughts.
right.
I do want to give you a little credit, though.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're trying.
Thank you, Gary.
Baby
good.
steps. Baby steps.
I've been
good.
very good,
Keep it up.
very good about not seeking out negative comments. I haven't
That-
visited the message boards in I don't know. I'm not counting days, but it's been a long time.
When you say
I-
message boards, do you mean message boards or the comments section on our website?
message boards.
Okay.
Comment section, I still occasionally look at.
I read those because I like to take the temperature of what people react to on our show.
Yeah. So,
Just like to see what's going on.
but more on the comments in a later segment. Let's do just me or everyone now.
Ooh.
Sometimes I ponder on something I have thought or done. Is it just me? one.
Do you like this segment?
Love it.
Oh, thank you.
It's my favorites.
All right. We're going to need to see those on the screen.
Oh, that's right. People write in with these.
That's right. Okay. Cosmo Demonic says, how do you finish dressing? Sock, shoe, or sock, shoe, shoe?
Ooh.
Are you sure? I go sock, shoe, shoe. I can't imagine sock, shoe.
I do both, but I think more often than I do sock, shoe.
You do?
Yeah, I don't know why. I do both, though. I mean, I'm not exclusively one or the other. But I'm definitely an exclusively pant leg guy. Like, you don't realize it until you're like, I always put my pant leg on left, right, or right, whatever your thing is, right, left.
I can't even imagine going the other way.
Yeah. You'd fall over.
I do. I know. It wouldn't be good. I do sock, shoe, because I will put on my socks and then walk around a lot.
Oh, interesting.
You know, I'll hang out in my socks, and then I'll put my shoes on as I'm leaving the house.
Interesting. I will, maybe that's because I'm the opposite. I will wait till I'm leaving the house to put on socks and shoes.
Oh.
Like I'm slippers or flip-flops around the house.
Interesting. Gary?
If those are the only two options, it's definitely...
What other options could there be?
No, listen,
if you go shoe, sock,
I'm about
that's
to
weird.
explain. If those are the only two options, then it's sock, shoe. But I oftentimes will put on socks and then, underwear and just walk around like that for quite a while and then put on pants. So like it's not like I get completely dressed and then put on socks and shoes as the last two steps is my point.
Right.
Is there a less sexy look, Allison, for a guy than...
I'm not fucking hanging out where people can see me, though.
No, I'm just saying, no, apropos to what you made me think of, is there a less sexy look for a guy than just socks, otherwise naked?
Oh, my God.
I feel like Magic
right.
Mike would look bad for, doing that.
That's a good question. I'm trying to think. Because
I mean,
I thought you were going to
obviously,
say
like-
then just socks and underwear.
So did I, but you're right. That's
It's not
disturbing.
good. It's not good.
I feel like socks and shoes and
Oh,
naked
yes!
is actually better.
No,
No,
I don't
worse?
think so.
It's a worse?
Okay, entirely naked, just socks and shoes, that's bad.
Because I got to be somewhere.
Yeah, and I've lost all sense of reality at this point. I feel like that's funny, though. That could be funny.
Yeah, that's more
Okay.
comical.
DPN010 says, always change the radio station when the 1877 Cars for Kids ad comes on. And now I
no.
chose this one specifically for Brian.
Yeah, you did.
Because he likes this jingle.
Loves.
Okay. Loves this jingle. I personally always change it because it gets stuck in my head and I can't stand it. And in fact, I'm sacrificing not having it in my head in order to discuss this with Brian because now the fucking thing is in my head.
Can we hear it? I'd like to hear it.
Do we have it?
Yes.
But then it's like we're sponsoring them.
Wrong.
We're letting them sponsor us
Wrong.
or something. Okay.
If you want to give me a second, I can pull it up.
No, I
but you
don't.
specifically
Unfortunately, no.
told me not
I know.
to. Okay.
You're right. I'm sorry.
I'll have to wait
I
till another
forgot.
day.
I said to Gary, if you play that.
1877 Cars for Kids. K-A- That was I only like that slightly better than the original Free Credit Report song. F-R-E-E, that's the Free Credit Report.
Oh my God! You're a sadist.
Got to buy a new car. Which
stop!
one for me?
No,
or an SUV.
Oh, damn it. I just took off my headphones as if that would silence you in the
Oh,
room.
so
and you're
good.
sitting a foot
So
away
good.
from me.
Anyhow, I will not touch you.
Okay.
Can I do a Just Me, Everyone?
Yeah, please.
Do you do them? You don't do them on the show anymore.
Sometimes I run out of
You
them.
run,
Yeah.
I've
But
got-
I do.
I've got a couple.
Please share.
Is it just me or everyone when I park in a parking lot or anywhere, when I park and I'm going somewhere, to a restaurant, to a grocery store, or wherever, I park and I'm walking to the store and I pass another empty spot that's closer, I immediately regret where I parked. And I was like, I want to go get my car and park in this closer spot.
100% agree.
I don't do that.
I think it's a guy thing.
I don't do that in a parking lot.
Because I will say to Christy, half jokingly, lie down in that spot.
I don't do that in a parking lot, but if I have to parallel park,
Right.
like to go to a friend's house or something, and it's far away, and then if I get close and there's a parking spot closer, then I will definitely want to repark. I don't
Sure.
always do it, but yeah.
Let's get another from a listener.
All right. Let's see. Barney Q. I have dreams, nightmares about not having enough credits to graduate high
Yes!
school. I graduated 13 years ago.
100% yes. Other
Yeah.
than me, it's college. But yes.
Is it the credits thing, though?
Well, it's I forgot. There's some clerical error. Oh, I
Yeah.
forgot to sign up for this class, or I forgot to officially drop this class, or whatever it is. It's some last-minute error that's preventing during finals or something. I'm not making it to a final, and if I don't take the final, I'm gonna.
Yes, that's what I have. I have the thing where all of a sudden, in an hour in Dreamtime, I have a test in Portuguese that I have to take, and it's the final.
French.
Yeah, and in the dream, sometimes the weird thing is that I'm me now, but I'm back in school. But it's like this weird, like, but I haven't been in school in, so many years. What is all of a sudden? It's like this. It's not like I'm back in school again. It's that time has folded in on itself or something. So anyway, I think those kind of dreams are very common anxiety dreams. Gary, do you have those?
Yeah, absolutely. Mine definitely is college also, and it was, my one that it doesn't happen so much anymore, but for a long time it was that I was like 2.5 months into a semester, and I hadn't realized I'd been registered for the class the whole time, and there was no way to drop it, and I had no idea what the topic even was.
Ugh.
Yeah. I have a personal interest mirror, everyone.
Okay, share.
This isn't something that I get in retrospect. I guess I've done it before. I'm not sure I do it all the time, but when I was getting out of my car today here at the shop, I left the windows down, just, a crack, just so it would stay cool. And I got out, and I realized that the front and the back windows were off by like a half inch, and I got back in, turned on the car, and adjusted it. So that there
that's
would
just
be
you.
I noticed your open windows, though, and then I noticed that Jeff had his windows cracked a tiny bit.
I do
and then
also.
I thought, oh, see, that made me think, am I the only person who's not cracking my windows at this time of year? Is this a thing that everyone knows to do?
I'm only comfortable doing it in certain places. Most of the places near where I live.
This would not be one that I would be comfortable doing it in.
In the parking lot where I'm parked so close to the door, I'm okay with it. Like if I was parked right by the gate, I don't think I'd do it.
Yeah.
I have one more.
Which is irrational.
Okay.
I have another one that's, I think, just you or me. So is it just me or is it us?
Okay.
Not everyone.
Just me or us.
When I know that I'm going to be a guest on someone's podcast, when someone's asked me to be a guest on their podcast, no matter how big or small, and if I have enough time, I will do an inordinate amount of research on the podcast. Like, I'll listen to a few episodes.
That is not just you. I don't always do it, but I feel like I should.
Oh, okay. Well, I actually do it. I listen to episodes if I can, if I have enough time, because I want to know what they're all about.
I listened to several of Fondelier's the first time he asked me to be on his show.
Matt Fondelier's podcast?
That's what I heard.
Yeah, I did it. Never listened to it. But I do feel like I should. Or, if I'm going to be interviewed, I feel like I should do that. Yeah, exactly. So that's how you formed your unpolite opinions about Topic Sombrero. This is going to be a thing.
That didn't come out as funny as I wanted it to be. In my mind, it was funnier.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
The clown one is one I agree with.
Yeah. Okay. Trigger Clown says, pretend to not notice someone I know but do not want to talk to in public, but remain very aware of where that person is. This happens to me at grocery stores.
Yes.
And then I have to reroute the order in which I'm going to shop, and then I'm keenly aware of like they're in pasta.
Yep, I've been in a specific situation with usually former coworkers. You know what I mean? People I'm just like, I don't care what they're up to. I don't want them to know what I'm up to.
They have fewer Twitter followers than I do.
They probably do. I'll do a quick search.
Yeah.
And not Channel 1 coworkers. Those people are great, but other coworkers, usually radio scum, who I don't want to encounter. And I just
Big Tad in the frozen food aisle.
I would seek out Big Tad. Actually, I like that fucking guy. But the Jack Silvers of the world, I would avoid actively, and it would know where they're like a shark. You want to know where the fin is at all times. Like I fucking know where that shark is.
And then there's that dread as you're coming around to a new aisle. But if you were to run into Jack Silver, what would that sound like?
Oh. I can't even do he was so unenthusiastic about my career and my role on the radio that he'd be surprised I was still in broadcasting.
Do you feel like you're still in broadcasting?
Yeah,
despite
that's a chip
him?
on my shoulder I keep, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, what'd you say? Do I feel like
Do you feel like you're still in broadcasting despite him? Like, did he try to hold you down or anything? Or this is the time pre-Allison, which is dead to me. But
prehistory.
Yeah, exactly. You guys have a lot of stories about this time, and I know that he had a role in the radio show, which was
ruining it.
Sure. Okay. So did he try to get you off of the show though, or he just wasn't?
No,
wasn't
he never
a fan.
He was successful in getting some people off the show,
right,
like Damashek.
Yeah.
But no, he tolerated me probably because I was cheap. But made no bones about not being a fan. Yeah, there was very vocal about it. I said to Adam and Lynch, and I hope we do this, we need to do a revisiting 2006 episode of the podcast, because there's so many stories that come up that you're probably like, oh, what's that all about? Or, oh, tell me more. Who's Brusca? Or whatever. You know, there's so many stories and so many characters that I think we should.
Giant footnote.
I feel like we should address some of the funnier stories.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
Do you avoid people in grocery stores or other places?
It tends to happen on the peninsula. Sometimes where Allison and I grew up in Newport, there's a cluster of bars where basically now it's just like a high school reunion any Saturday night I want to.
Yeah.
And I really don't like going down there, but I have friends down there. Sometimes I do. And so I spend the night scanning the room. I find, someone who I make sure I do not want to see, and I just kind of I'm luckily tall enough to be able to keep my head on a swivel and make sure that I can avoid them. So
is that that's a wealthy part of town, right? Like
the
part
peninsula?
of LA?
The peninsula,
Newport Beach, the peninsula.
Yes.
Newport Beach is, but the peninsula, there's parts of it that are kind of shady.
The answer to
Maybe
his,
it's
the
wealthy,
answer to his
but...
question is yes, though, because the people I'm avoiding in the bars that we're all at is all, the kids who went to our high school, snobby.
Of course, his parents live on Balboa Island.
Oh, yeah, I love Balboa Island. But
it's delightful. It's fucking pleasant. It's Pleasantville.
Yeah. Well, so the peninsula
No, it's
is...
more the Truman Show, actually.
The peninsula, you've been to the peninsula, right? Then it's where, if you're
I
at Balboa Island and you take the ferry over...
Oh, I never taken the ferry.
Where the fun... You haven't?
No.
Oh, definitely do that sometime,
Someday
just to
I will.
say you did.
Yeah.
You take the ferry over and there's like the fun zone, and then that's part of the peninsula. So here's the thing, though. It is a nice area, but there's and maybe it's the surfer element, I don't know, but there's no offense, surfers, surprising
No, go ahead, Evander.
amount of just sketchy, druggy, kind of petty, like crime and shit. Like, wouldn't you say? It's weirdly violent.
There's a lot of massive houses with like 9 dudes living in it who don't know each other really, and everyone's paying some weird rent, and they move from like my friend lives in a house with 5 bedrooms or whatever, and I would say he gets a new roommate 6 times a year. With different people cycling in and out.
It's like the real world houses everywhere.
Sure.
Exactly.
Are we going to tell people to fuck themselves?
Yes, we are.
At some point, I mean?
No, yeah, we are. Let me see. I think that we should just do that now. Thank you, Brian.
That's a transition.
I know. That was very good.
Hey, go fuck yourself.
So for me, it's been a little more difficult to find people to tell to go fuck themselves.
Really?
Because I haven't...
Oh, you do it a lot, though. You do it every week.
Yeah, well, because I haven't been seeking out, I've made this rule that I'm trying to not seek out the negative stuff.
Oh.
So, a fair amount still comes at me, though. But in general, I don't walk around feeling as agitated and with all the negativity in my head anymore. So that's good. But here's a delightful comment, which is from YouTube. And when I mentioned to Gary that I had this comment from YouTube, he was like, do you want to do it?
I don't remember what I said.
You said, reading YouTube comments, because that's what you should be doing.
Well, I just feel like... yeah.
No.
Passive aggressive.
No, but it was a fair point.
It's I'm disgusted for her own personal mental health.
I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel of the hate by going to YouTube, because YouTube...
We've had Ricky Lindholm on twice, and she has said both times that YouTube is the worst place for comments of anywhere on the internet. She's seen the meanest stuff about her on YouTube.
Well, I think this comment will prove them wrong. Fuck, I miss Teresa Strasser. This disgusting
Get that
Jew.
drop.
This disgusting Jew bitch with a penis for a nose is horrible and needs to die in a fire. Her boyfriend needs to be impaled by N-word dicks for fucking this skank.
Does it say N-word, or does it say...
No, it says the word.
Yeah. What word is it?
It's new.
Okay.
By new dicks for fucking this skank.
Footnote. I think you can say the N-word when you're quoting someone.
Can I? Don't.
You may feel uncomfortable.
I feel uncomfortable.
Don't, but I think you can.
I feel like one can.
I wondered about that
One
earlier.
can, I believe.
I just don't think I'm going to.
Like I quoted a movie line on the Film Vault, and I said the N-word because I was quoting the line.
Yeah, this kike isn't going to.
There you
I
go.
can say that because,
Yeah, sure.
because I am a disgusting Jew bitch with a penis for a nose, is horrible and needs to die in a fire. Her boyfriend needs to be impaled by N-word dicks for fucking this skank. R.I.P. Adam Carolla Show. It was good before Allison got there. So to this delightful gent,
I don't remember being
say
that different that he should bury us.
And by the way, there was also one that was in all caps, which is like this foul-mouthed, skank vagina Jew bitch thing. It was like what Lisa Lampanelli would yell as the life was being squeezed out of her throat or something, you know. So to him, I say,
Hey, go fuck yourself.
but I also say, hey, you miserable motherfucker, go fuck yourself. Sometimes I like to say it too.
Good.
Do you
Good
have
for
one?
I have. Well, in true Film Vault fashion, we do a top 5 every week. I have 5. And they're all
Oh my
themed.
gosh.
But should I do them all, or should we alternate? Do you have 5?
No, I just had that
Okay,
one.
okay.
I
By the
shot
way,
my wad
I
just
love
right there.
No, that's good. I love what you do. You're doing a version of what I do, which is I retweet any negative comment that comes my way. Not a lot, but I will sometimes solicit them because I like to retweet the more creative ones, like that one.
Yeah.
That guy wasn't trying to be funny; he was being an asshole.
Yeah.
But I like that this is you taking ownership of
It's
that.
right,
It's
I
like,
am.
that's your negative comment.
It's
This is me
cathartic
one-upping
for
you.
me,
You're
yeah.
one-upping him. Good for you.
Thank you.
Okay, you'll appreciate these. These top 5. Is a top 5 to go fuck yourselves. They are people, or more accurately, corporations or types of people who had it too good for too long, and now the internet is destroying them. And they ironically want us to. We're supposed to feel bad for these people, but in fact, they had a good run. Their time came and it went, and now it's time for them to get their comeuppance. And we should not feel bad for these people because they are horrible people, and now they're dying. Number 5, florists. We should
Fuck those fuckers.
Fuck those guys.
With
their price gouging.
That's right.
Adam will often allude to how, back in the day, a dozen roses cost $100.
Yeah.
And that's true, by the way. If you wanted to get 100 roses all done up, it was going to cost you 3 figures.
Right.
And as a guy who dated all throughout, had a girlfriend all throughout college and stuff, it's a lot of fucking dozen roses. And
Right.
I
Big
did not
Flora fucked you.
Big Flora fucked me. And now 18 roses cost you $19.99. You get a discount if you use the code Adam. If you're getting it through Pro Flowers or 1-800-Flowers. And
I don't like the direction this is going.
why?
Because you're giving ads.
Oh,
I'm just kidding. No,
okay.
go ahead.
I wasn't actually giving an ad. But anyone who's been to the Flower Mart in downtown LA and Santee Alley knows that flowers ain't that expensive. And the price gouging from the florist, the corner florist who would charge you 3 figures for their dozen roses, I don't feel bad for you now. You're all going away.
Okay, tell them what you want to say.
Go.
Hey, go fuck yourself.
Sorry, I'll keep it shorter. Number 4, travel agents.
Yeah.
Glorified middlemen. Someone who made a very simple process seem incredibly difficult. So gatekeepers who would never let you in.
Right.
You need a travel agent. You're going to fly somewhere.
Travel bouncers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the velvet rope was always hinged.
right.
It was never unhinged.
I feel
your
like
name was never on the clipboard.
I feel like it'd be better. I think you should tell them personally because it's good to just get it out. Hey, travel agents.
Go fuck yourselves.
That's right. Next. Oh.
I want to hear the jingle.
Okay.
Hey, go fuck yourself.
Next, chain bookstores. Barnes & Noble.
Yeah.
Borders.
Who, yeah.
Squashed all the little guys.
B. Dalton.
Just squeezed them out.
Walden Books.
They squeezed out little guys where books were loved, and the employees knew books and loved books and could recommend books for you.
Hudson News.
They sterilized the book buying process, and when Amazon came around and started to crush them, we're supposed to feel bad for all the Barnes & Nobles that are going away? Fuck you.
That's right. Yeah. You've Got Mail was...
Yeah, you got an eviction notice.
Hey, go fuck yourself.
Here's one that probably hits home for you. The Recording Industry Association of America, or DVD, home entertainment, CDs, everyone who was charging us $18 for a CD back in the day, or $30 for a DVD back in the day, and rapidly changing formats meant you had to rebuy all your favorite albums or all your favorite movies. And I always thought there should be a thing where if you owned a movie on VHS, or you bought the movie on DVD, but it was a bare bones DVD, and then it came out with the collector's edition with the director's commentary and with all the extras, you should be able to get a rebate for that shit. You should send in your old shitty DVD. Hey, I'm a fan of this movie. I love this movie. I bought it when it first came out.
You should be able to upgrade.
Now you want me to double down? Fuck you. Give me $10 off this one.
Yeah.
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 The reaction, by the way, sorry, buddy. The reaction to the technology changing with the lawsuits and everything, that was just shameful. The suing the little kids and the moms who download the stuff illegally.
I know.
That's just shameful. And it makes me feel good about
bullying.
Makes me feel good about saying,
Hey, go fuck yourself.
Well, thank you for...
I have one more.
Oh my gosh.
Really quickly.
Okay.
Blockbuster. Blockbuster, Hollywood Video. It's again, squashed all the little guys, shoved them out of the market. All the video stores, the independent stores, were the mom and pop places where the employees knew movies, loved movies, talked to you about movies. They marginalized independent filmmakers. There was only room on the shelves for the big studios. They used their immense power to have films re-edited, to meet their standards, their Puritan standards, and the late fees. Fuck them and their late fees. Netflix is here and they're crushing you.
That says "Be kind, rewind."
No, I'm not going to be kind. I'm going to say,
Hey, go fuck yourself.
Thank you.
That was like one of the most polished and prepared.
I made
if
a
not
list.
the most.
I made a
know that was very good. Thank you very much, Bald Bryan Bishop. Ooh, I got it right this time.
Yeah.
I've gotten
all the
it
R's
right
in the right place.
I have to say, every single time I've said your name ever, I've gotten it right.
Right.
I shared the getting it wrong with my listeners for the very first time, and that was a special moment that we won't be forgetting very soon.
Thanks, Andrea. That's a callback.
I know. That was good. That actually was the subject of a "Hey, Go Fuck Yourself" a few episodes ago.
Right.
Thank you so much for coming on the show and for talking about everything. Where can we find you?
BryanBishop.com or Twitter me at BaldBryan. I'm very easy to find. Just Google anything you want to find out about me.
All righty. Anything that coming up that we should know?
How long can I draw this out? No, there's nothing coming up. I'll announce it on the show. If you're listening to the Adam Carolla Show, anything big that happens, I'll let you know.
Okay.
And hopefully I can come back here and promote whatever I have coming out in the future.
It's doubtful, but
maybe.
Fuck. I mean, I don't know. Who knows? Let's live in the moment, Bryan.
Okay, I like
this was
that.
a great show.
Yeah, this is still a great show.
All right. Thank you guys so much for listening. And as usual, you can email the show at ariynbf@adamcarolla.com. You can follow me on Twitter at Alison Rosen. You can follow the show's Twitter feed at ariynbf. You can follow Gary at gpatricksmith. And I think Bryan has something to add.
There is something coming up, and I haven't brought it up on the Carolla Show, but I will. But this is
an exclusive?
Close to an exclusive.
My butt just clenched. I got so excited.
It's not that exciting.
Oh, it's
for those in the Southern California area, I've been asked to be the chairman for the National Brain Tumor Society LA Brain Tumor Walk, and it's coming up in a few months. It's in October. I'll talk more about it as it gets closer, but it'd be great if you guys signed up and walked with me and came out and we'd have a beer together and we'll walk. It'll be fun. Support the brain tumor cause.
Where do they go to sign up?
I will have a link on my site at some point on bryanbishop.com, but I will be talking more about it. Just Google NBTS LA Walk.
And I want to say that when I oohed a second ago, it sounded super insincere.
It sounded very condescending.
But I didn't intend it to sound that way. It just came out that way. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But that is actually very cool.
Thank you.
And you and I are new podcast dignitaries and ambassadors, any day now.
Yeah, come hang out with us.
Right, come hang out with us. If you're a fellow famous podcaster,
submit your application to Gary.
Exactly. Right. There is a vetting process.
And do a survey, for God's sake, for the show.
Okay. I will.
So
All
you
right.
know your listeners.
I love you guys, and I'll be talking to you next week. Bye.
Hey, do you know about the Alison Rosen Show? We had a good time, but now we gotta go. Thank you for choosing the Alison Rosen Show. Alison Rosen is your new best friend. That's right. That's right. Those good times don't seem to end. That's right. That's right. Alison Rosen is your new best friend. Hey, do you know about the Alison Rosen Show? We had a good time, but now it's time to go. Hope to see you next time for the Alison Rosen Show.
You're listening to the Ace Broadcasting Network.